Well, returning now to our top story, tennis star Novak Djokovic could be detained again if he wins an appeal against his last-minute visa cancellation, according to lawyers for the federal government. The saga is enraging people in Serbia, where supporters of the world number one have been out in force for days in protest. Joining me now live from Belgrade is N1 Serbia's news anchor, Igor Besermenji. Igor, thank you so much for joining us today. What has the reaction been in Serbia to the latest developments?
Well, the Serbian media has been closely following this story, and I have to say that the debate in the Serbian media is heating up as we are approaching the timing of Novak's hearing. What needs to be said is that from the very beginning of this story, people had mixed opinions on this whole situation. Some of them believe that Novak could have made this whole situation much easier for himself if he just took the vaccine. But others, of course, have opinion that it's his basic human right not to take it and that this should be respected. What I feel that needs to be said is that we have to draw a clear line between Novak Djokovic himself and what could be heard in the Serbian media by some members of his family. I have to say that his father's statements were particularly inappropriate in some way during some moments in the past few days. But it's also understandable because we have to understand that the family probably sees this as a very heartbreaking situation, having in mind that their child is far away from them and that they probably feel hopeless because they cannot really help him at this point. Also, we had many reactions from the representatives of Serbian government, the Serbian president himself. Some of these statements coming from the politicians have been very condemning towards the Novak's treatment in Australia. And some of them even said that this is a political question, that this is Australia having some political issues with Serbia. We don't know what was the reason for these kind of statements, but do have in mind that Serbia is actually approaching the elections. We will have elections in about 3 months, so probably politicians are also gaining some kind of populistic political points when they speak about Novak's situation. They're actually using Novak to gain political points because Novak is such a huge and beloved figure here in Serbia.
You mentioned that opinion has been a bit divided, but also Novak's parents have been quite vocal, as you said. What have they had to say about how they believe that their son is being treated here in Australia?
Well, the newest statement that we have coming from one of the members of his family is actually directly from his mother, Diana Djokovic, who apparently said that Novak told her that he's not even getting breakfast in this quarantine hotel. Of course, this is something that has hurt many feelings of Serbians here because they feel that Novak has given so much in terms of the sport, in terms of the tennis, and also to the Australian people as well, and to the Australian tennis by winning 9 Grand Slam tournaments at the Australian Open. I have to say that members of his family mostly had very balanced reactions to this. But his father, of course, Serbian Djokovic, as you know, he was very vocal at some points, maybe even using inappropriate words to express his disappointment in particularly Australian Prime Minister, and at one point he even said that this situation reminds him of the crucifixion of the Jesus Christ, and he reminds that Novak is the heart of Serbia. So if you do something against Novak, in Serbian's opinion, this is also an action against Serbia.
Well, I'm sure that Serbia will be watching this court decision very closely today. Igor Besermenji, thank you so much for joining us this morning here in Australia.
Thank you for having me.